Hello students, welcome to the EPG Patashala. I am Dr. Gaurinath from School of Life Sciences. Today I am going to talk about module on turns, loops, alpha helical and beta sheet domain structures in proteins from the paper Biomolecules and Their Interactions. The objective of this module is to learn about turns and loops in the protein structure, what kind of turns and loops are formed in the protein structure, and also we'll discuss about alpha helical domains and beta sheet domains in protein structures. Now the secondary structures are connected by loops and turns to form a domain. These secondary structures, which are elongated structures, but there should be a flexible structures which connect them together and form a domain. These loops are of various lengths and they are very irregular in shape. The loop regions are generally on the surface of the protein structure and they are very rich in hydrophilic amino acids. And these loop regions can be easily predicted in the protein amino acid sequence. During the evolution, loops are less conserved and the loops are of different lengths and flexible, becomes difficult to determine those structures. During the evolution, the core of the protein structure is well conserved and the secondary structures are very well conserved, but loops are not. The insertions and the deletions on the protein structure are basically happen in the loop regions. And loop regions are generally very flexible and can adapt many different conformations. Due to their flexibility of the loops, generally they are not well defined and you cannot see them very clearly on many X-ray crystallographic structures and NMR structures unless until we have very high resolution structures. Even if you have many loop regions of very high resolution structures, the generalization of loops becomes very difficult. And these loops are very susceptible to proteolysis. Loops and turns. As we discussed before, loops are large and have a multiple and flexible conformation, but the small loops with regular hydrogen bond pattern and specific dihedral angles are termed as turns. There are also some loops which are little larger than the turns, like 5 to 10 amino acids. Some of them are well characterized, but I'm not discussing here. But we'll discuss more about the turns. So turns are classified into several classes like beta turn, alpha turn, gamma turn, pi turn. And each of these turns are subclassified into several classes. Like example, beta turn turn 1, 2, reverse turn, and 1 prime or 2 prime. So like that, every turn is also subclassified. So I will show you examples of all these turns with the specific conformational state where in the Ramachandran plot they fall into. Beta turns. The most common turns, also termed as beta bends. These are tight turns, they are also called as reverse turns. And they are generally connect the beta sheets, and that's the reason why they are called as beta turns. Beta turns have 4 amino acids, and these are termed as I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3. And all the nomenclature where you see the beta sheet in the textbooks, they are numbered as I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3. The hydrogen bond is between first and the last residue of these 4 amino acids, or you can also say I and I plus 3 form the hydrogen bond. The beta turns are subclassified on the basis of the conformation of I plus 1 and I plus 2, which are crucial, and on the basis of these, the conformation of beta turns are classified. This is the first time Venkatachalam in 1968 explained the conformation of beta turns. A type 1 beta turn, you can see here in the figure, I have shown you both the ball and stick model and the stick model with the conformation in the Ramachandran plot. Like the hydrogen bond is seen between I and I plus 3. And the Ramachandran angles for I plus 1 is in the right-handed alpha helical region, and I plus 2 is between the alpha helix and beta sheet region. And only these conformation we call as a type 1 beta turn. The type 2 beta turn, similar to type 1 beta turn, the hydrogen bond is formed between I and I plus 3, that is the first and the fourth amino acid. The only difference, the basic difference, is the carbonyl group of I plus 1 is oriented in opposite direction, and due to which the phi psi angle of I plus 1 and I plus 2 changes. I plus 1 is in beta sheet region, where the conformation of phi psi is similar to beta sheet, whereas I plus 2 falls in the right side below the left-handed alpha helix region. And this region, because it's basically non-allowed region of Ramachandran plot, so it has to be only glycine. Only glycine can occur this place, and that's the reason the type 2 beta turns always at I plus 2 position has to be glycine. And this is one of the reason why the type 2 beta turns, the I plus 2 is conserved with glycine, and that's how these tight turns are also sequentially covered throughout the evolution. Type 1 dash beta turn. Again, as we discussed before, the hydrogen bond is between I and I plus 3. But again, the carbonyl group of I plus 1 and I plus 2 are different from the type 1. So here, the Ramachandran angle of both I plus 1 and I plus 2 are the right side, where left-handed alpha helix region is there. And if you look at the Ramachandran plot, both of them are at the right side, and both of them are in non-allowed regions of the Ramachandran plot. So that again clearly indicates it has to be only glycine, and no other amino acid can occupy this conformation. The type 2 dash beta turn. If you look at the type 1 dash beta turn and 2 dash beta turn, the only difference is the carbonyl group of I plus 1 is in the opposite direction, and due to which both phi psi of I plus 1 and I plus 2 changes. Now I plus 1 is in the non-allowed region of Ramachandran plot, and again that has to be glycine, and I plus 2 is between the alpha helix and beta sheet region, and that could be any other amino acid. So again, because of the steric hindrances, the I plus 1 has to be glycine in this type 2 dash beta turn. So we can compare the beta turn conformation of I plus 1 and I plus 2. So you can clearly see that what are the differences here. The I plus 1 phi psi in type 1 is minus 60, minus 30, both are allowed, and I plus 2 is minus 90, 0, and that is also almost allowed regions. In type 2, I plus 1 is minus 60, 20, again it's a beta sheet region, it's allowed, and whereas the I plus 2 is 80, 0, so it's a positive, both positive, so it's not allowed. The type 1 dash, where it is 60, 30 and 90, 0, so here both of them are not allowed, so they have to be glycines. In type 2 dash prime, it is 60 minus 120, again it's a not allowed regions, and minus 80, 0, it's a allowed region, it could be any other amino acids. So you can clearly see the phi psi for I plus 1 and I plus 2 in all the 4 beta turns. Alpha turn. Alpha turn, as name suggests, similar conformation is very similar to alpha helix. It consists of 5 amino acids, and generally, like other loops and turns, these also have basically hydrophilic amino acids, and which protrude outside the protein surface, and these alpha turns actually form like a hook conformation, hook-like structure. And these can also be classified as the conformation of I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3 amino acids. What kind of conformation they exist, they could be classified into 9 different families. So you have 3 phi psi and could be 9 different families you can be classified. And like any other turn, the first and the last residue of the turn form the hydrogen bond. Here I and I plus 4. So there are too many subgroups of alpha turn which we won't go into details, but you should have an idea about alpha turn. Gamma turn. The gamma turn is the smallest turn which consists of only 3 amino acids, and it's generally termed, these residues are generally termed as I plus 1 and I plus 2. The hydrogen bond is between I and I plus 2. They are the first and the third residue. The conformation of I plus 1 is crucial. On the basis of this, the gamma turn can be divided into 2 groups. The dihedral angles of I plus 1 could be 70, minus 60 and minus 70, 60. And this is the classical and inverse gamma turns. So these gamma turns, you can look into the slide which shows the gamma turn I plus 1, I plus 2 residues and the hydrogen bond between them. Pi turn. It consists of 6 amino acids and generally termed as I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3, I plus 4 and I plus 5. And hydrogen bond is seen between I and I plus 5 with the first and sixth residues. And on the basis of conformation of I plus 1, 2, 3, 4, they are classified into 4 different classes. And you can see the details of this classification in Rai Shankar and Ram Kumar manuscript in 96. And they have discussed about the different conformations of the pi turn and on what protein structures it has been identified. Alpha helical structures. The protein structures which have only alpha helices are basically called as alpha helical structures. The simplest example is coils, where 2 helices can be come parallelly with each other, and the 2 helices coil around each other, and these are called as coils. The best example is GCN4 or intermediate filaments. The details of this coils are described in the next other module, super secondary structures. The next level of alpha helical structure is 4 helix bundle, where the 4 helices come together to form 4 helix bundles. Now we also have a large proteins which have only alpha helices, and sometimes they could be very large and complex. I will show you one of the example in the coming slides. The 4 helix bundle is the simplest and most frequently occurring alpha helical domain. These helices axes are parallel to each other. They could be a parallel or they could be anti-parallel. The hydrophobic side chains are buried in the inside and the hydrophilic side chains are exposed to the solvent. And these 4 helix bundles come together and are packed together and attached to several functional parts. And in evolution, these 4 helix bundles are consists of, they do many jobs, like example, cytochromes, ferritins, protease inhibitors, seed storage proteins, and they do many functions. The 4 helix bundles have a peculiar pattern of sequences, and when you see sequence homology or sequences, one can predict whether they form a 4 helix bundles or not. So as we know, you need 3.6 residues per 1 turn of the helix and there's 7.2 residues per 2 turns. So approximately there are 7 amino acids per 2 turns, right? So if you represent as A, B, C, D, E, F, G as the 7 amino acids, and A and D has to be hydrophobic amino acids, where the 2 helices come up exactly opposite to each other, and the E and G interact with the neighboring residues. And these neighboring residues which interact could be a charged residue or hydrophobic interactions. If it is a charged residues, there could be forming hydrogen bonds like asparagine, glutamine kind of residues, or there could be completely charged like aspartic acid and arginine, which form hydrogen bonds. So these interactions which make these 4 helices together and form a strong 4 helix bundle structure. 4 helix bundle. As we discussed before, the heptad repeats which form these 4 helix bundles, the amino acid sequence pattern has to be in heptad repeats, where the A and D from each helix come together and form the hydrophobic core. So that's how these 4 helices are held together. So you can see this image where all the A and Ds from all the 4 helices come in the core and they have to be hydrophobic. Whereas EG from each helix come side by side. Subsequent helices side by side, the E and G come head to head. So these could be hydrophobic as well as hydrophilic. They could be, so hydrophobic, they form hydrophobic interaction. If the hydrophilic, either they form hydrogen bond or ionic interactions. So example of here I have shown the focal adhesion targeting domain of 4 focal adhesion kinase in a 4 helix bundle, and that binds paxillin. So this 4 helix bundle has a central core hydrophobic core. The 4 helix bundle you can also be in where consecutive helix is antiparallel, or they could be in parallel. So where the consecutive helices are antiparallel, the loops are shorter. The example here, cytochrome B562. The helices are connected by small loops and successive helices are antiparallel. Whereas if you have a parallel helices, that means the one helix to another helix, there has to be a long loop, and then another consecutive helices are again parallel, but they are in the opposite direction. So this here example is a human growth hormone, where the helices are connected by long loops and 2 pairs of parallel helices are arranged together to form 4 helix bundle. Large alpha helical domains. So as I described before, the alpha helical domains containing protein structures could be very large. So here I am showing an example as bacterial myrimidase, which has about 450 amino acids with 27 helices. Look at the structure. It's all alpha helices. 27 helices arranged in a 2-layered ring with a central hole, and it's all alpha, small domains, all of them helices arranged in a small domains, and all these domains, the alpha helices arranged in a ring conformation. So large alpha helical domains. Globin fold is a helical domain which is highly conserved. They have about 8 alpha helices and 8 helices wrapped around to form a pocket for the active site. The last 2 helices are antiparallel and all sequential helices are not adjacent to each other. So they are spatially arranged far away. Ridges of one helix fit into the grooves of adjacent helix. And these globulin structures and hemoglobin structures are discussed separately in a separate module in the same biomolecules part of this course. Beta structures. So antiparallel beta structures comprise a second large group of protein domain structures. As we discussed, alpha helices is the largest domain, large number of proteins domain structures, and beta sheet is the next one. Have very diverse functions, like example enzymes, transport proteins, antibodies, cell surface adhesin proteins, etc. The core of these domains built by beta strands that can vary from 4 to 10 beta sheets. These beta sheets have usual twist as we discussed before, and more sheets are packed together to form a beta barrel structure. Beta barrel structure. So the beta barrel structure is about 8 beta sheets, and here I've shown you in the figure where they're all antiparallel beta sheets. So the beta sheets which are coming up I have represented as a reddish color. The ones which are going down are shown as a bluish color. So every consecutive beta sheet is antiparallel beta sheet to the next one, and they form like a beta barrel structure. So in the middle figure you can see that it actually like forms like a cylinder barrel kind of a structure. The typical example is SOD. So in this, the alternative residues are hydrophobic residues that go inside the core of the protein, and alternative residues on the beta sheets are and the surface. They are exposed to the outside. So these hydrophobic residues in the center of the beta barrel structure, which keeps the beta sheets intact together. The beta barrel structures I discussed before have up and down beta sheets. So every consecutive beta sheet is antiparallel to each other, but the first and the last beta sheet is parallel to each other, and they are close to each other. So this core of these structures is very similar to alpha beta barrel structure. There in the alpha beta barrel structure, every consecutive secondary structure is an alpha helix. Here in this case of beta barrel structures, the beta sheets are connected by loops. So that's the only difference. And there the beta sheets are covered by alpha helices. Here every alternative residue is a hydrophilic amino acid, so that exposed outside, and every alternative residue which is hydrophobic, which is center of the beta barrel structure. Retinol binding protein. This is a classical example of beta barrel structure, is a retinol binding protein which has a beta barrel structure. The center of the beta barrel structure, which binds to vitamin A, that is retinol. The function of this protein is to carry vitamin A from one place to another place. So in the beta barrel, the one side is closed with the loops and side chains. Other side of the beta barrel is open, where your vitamin A can go and come out. So as we discussed before, every alternate residue on the sheet is a hydrophobic facing the core, and alternative residue is hydrophilic, which is exposed outside. So the hydrophobic core in the center is actually also helpful in binding to retinol, that is vitamin A. Two Greek key motifs form a beta barrel structure. So the beta barrel structures could be formed by different arrangement of beta sheets. So earlier what we have seen is every consecutive beta sheets is antiparallel to the next one. So, but as we see in the Greek key motif, so they are also antiparallel, but the only difference is the consecutive ones are not connected to each other. They are actually, as we see the Greek key motif designs, the motifs which we have studied before, the arrangement of loops connecting them is different. So classical example is gamma crystalline, where you have gamma crystalline is an I-lens protein which has about 170 amino acids. So it has the two domains, and both domains are very similar to each other, and each domain has two Greek key motifs. But these two Greek key motifs will form a beta barrel kind of a structure, and these two beta barrel structures form one alpha gamma crystalline protein. Beta helix. So beta sheets can also arrange in a helical pattern, and the simplest form has two sheets helix, where two beta sheets and two loop regions come together and they are tandemly repeated. So they are generally right-handed helices. The short beta sheets are planar, and because they are short, the twist is not seen in this. The loops are rich in glycine and generally have aspartic acid, and because they have negative charged aspartic acid, they are bound to seen to bond calcium ions. So these small beta helices are seen in few proteins. I'll show you the example in the next slide. The two sheet beta helix, which has about 18 amino acids, which is a repetition of 9 amino acids. So it has a glycine and aspartic acid rich. So the two glycines, any amino acid, another glycine, any amino acid, aspartic acid, and etc. Also, the hydrophobic amino acid is fixed in this pattern. So you can see the slide where we have shown you the residue pattern here. There is a 3 amino acid sheet and 6 in the loop. So from this 9 amino acid repeats, the 3 amino acids formed a small sheet and 6 amino acids form a large loop. The typical example is pectate lyase. This has about 2 to 3 this small 2 sheet beta helix in this protein. 3 sheet beta helix. The structural unit has three beta sheet helix. So the two sheets are anti-parallel to each other, and the third sheet is actually perpendicular to them. Each sheet consists of 3 to 5 amino acids, and one loop connecting each sheets generally has 2 amino acids, and the other two loops can vary in size. So this three loop helix, the three sheet beta helix, you can see here the sheets are staggered on one over the other. The third sheet, which is perpendicular, is expected to form in trimeric conformation, and where these sheets actually interact with the another sheet of the another molecule. The three sheet helix, the typical example is serine acetyltransferase. We also see in pectate lyase and bacteriophage P22 spine-like protein. In the pectate lyase, you see 7 turns. Bacteriophage P22, you see about 13 turns, and serine acetyltransferase, you see about 5 to 6 turns, where these three beta sheet helices are seen. The two loops protrude outside can form the active site. Different length of three sheet helices are also found, as I told you in the example. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. The secondary structures, which are connected by loops and turns to form a domain. As we know, the secondary structures are elongated structures, and only the elongated structures, the longer structures, cannot come together to form a globular domain. The loops and turns which connect them together and bring them together to form a globular domains. These loops are of various lengths and irregular shape. These regions are generally on the surface of the protein molecule, and as they are on the surface of the protein molecule and exposed to the solvent, they are rich in charged and hydrophilic amino acids. And during the evolution, loops are less conserved. So they are very flexible and they are very less conserved. The turns, which are the short form of the loops, which are generally conserved and have a specific hydrogen bond pattern. So the short turns, short loops makes them turns, and they are highly conserved. And in this module, we have discussed about the several types of turns. Now, these turns, some positions, the specific residues are also very highly conserved. Example, the type 2 turn, I+2 position is always glycine. So, to make a short turn, we need to have a glycine at that specific position to bring back the two secondary structures come close together by a short loop or a short turn. In this module, we also discussed about the alpha helical domains and beta sheet domains. Now in the alpha helical domains, we have discussed more detail about the 4 helix bundles, where what kind of sequence pattern is needed to form 4 helix bundles. The preliminary sequence, we can identify whether they can form a 4 helix bundles. These 4 helix bundles can have a similar kind of structures, but functionally they can do many more jobs. And we also discussed, I introduced you about a little bit about globulin fold and large alpha helical complex structures. Among the beta sheet structures, we have discussed about the beta barrel structures and how Greek key containing domains can also form a beta barrel structures. Now, small beta sheets can also form helices, so they are also called as beta helices. So we discussed about beta helices containing structures with two beta sheet repeats, where 2 beta sheets are almost parallel to each other and they stack on each other. And similarly, the 3 beta sheet repeat helices, where 2 beta sheets are parallel to each other and the third beta sheet is perpendicular. And these 3 beta sheets are stacked on each other to form a helical structure. And these things we have discussed in detail. Thank you.